Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Perfect. This gets better. So, I think probably I'm not the right fit to speak in this conference, and I'll quickly tell you why. Ever since morning, I've heard a lot of physical security, crowd management. Uh, I thought let's talk about logical security and what's happening in the big bad world out there, right? Uh, how many of you read newspapers? Physical. Uh, can I see higher hands, please? There's a lot of light coming in. Superb. I'm sure all of you would agree with me that the newspaper is not complete once a week if you don't read about a cyber attack that's affecting a company, right? And these are business newspapers, I would assume that you read, right? Like an Economic Times, Fortune, Financial Express, etc. So the world that we are living in, one single breach, and you're on the front page of a newspaper or you're talking headlines, right? And unfortunately, it happened with the biggest hospital that we have in our country, right? Does everybody know about the hack that happened in India? Yes? Guys, louder. I've come here after an 18-hour flight. So if you guys don't speak, I'll also go silent. And then we can, just run through the slides. So why is everybody talking about cyber security today? Obviously, everything that we do is connected with technology. People have started playing with ChatGPT. How many of you have experienced ChatGPT? Almost all of us, right? Boon, bane, I'm not here to talk about what's good from a technology perspective, but that's how it's affecting our lives, right? Right from social networking to augmented reality, AR, VR, Microsoft's talking about MR, mixed reality, to cloud, home automation, everything, right? There's a small 3-4 minute video on YouTube, a very, very scary video. I'll tell you the title of the video. Very old German couple is sleeping on the bed. There's this air conditioning working. And suddenly the temperature of the air conditioning changes, right? It goes lower by 10 degrees. The husband fiddles with the remote, changes it back to the original setting and sleeps. Again, after about 15-20 minutes, you see in the video that the temperature again drops. Somebody's been manipulating their air conditioning and the husband suffers an heart attack. That's the world that we are living in, where everything is connected, right? We are talking about connected devices. We are talking about connected cars, connected homes. This is what happens in a single day on internet. Somebody asked me this question, so I should ask this question. If I were to see all content that is present on YouTube today, let's take today's cutoff date. Whatever content has been created. How many years will it take to see me everything on YouTube? Any guesses? Any guesses, guys? Let's do a guesstimate. Yes, please. Sorry? 500 years. Not really. Little bit too far. 200 in fast forward. Thank you. If I only stick to English as a language, it will probably take me about 114 years to see every content that is present on YouTube, which was uploaded as on last 1 minute. And what is surprising is 30% of this all data has been generated in the last 2.5 years post-pandemic. I'm taking 1st March as the cutoff date. So that's what is happening. Read the names of these magazines, right? All these are business magazines, but cyber security, IT security is on the cover of these magazines. That's how big this entire problem has become. I don't need to tell you this. How many of you get messages from people in Delhi? Get messages from BSES saying we'll disconnect your electricity. Paytm messages from banks saying either your card's expired or there's some problem with your KYC. All of us, right? People get duped. Public case study. Serum Institute CEO sent a message to his CFO saying, please make a payment of 1 crore to this vendor. Fraudulent message. People getting messages from on WhatsApp from numbers masquerading as friends number asking for 5,000 rupees, 7,000 rupees. I'm stuck in Cochin airport, something like that. Very, very common, right? And these are the most intelligent people in this room, I would assume, right? What if this message comes to your grandparents, come to your parents who are not living somewhere, who are not living with you or living somewhere else, right? And then in that message, it says that, if you don't pay or if you don't pay this bill by clicking here, the electricity will go off in 4 hours. What do? They are bound to click. That's the human psyche. And that's why the hackers are getting much more smarter. We've discussed all of this, right? Right from ICICI Bank, you're getting bank messages to KYC messages to, the entire electricity bill being disconnected, etc. I wanted to talk about this case study very similar to what happened in the Serum Institute. And CEO sent an email, sent a message to the CFO saying, let's pay this vendor about 100,000 rupees, right? What had happened was somebody had phished the email, both sides, from the vendor's side as well from the organization side, and was acting as the man in the middle and asking both of them for money. Very, very common modus operandi. A lot of times people tell me, Jaspreet, why will somebody go after us, right? What is it that I have? I've taken just a sample company and companies that are spread all over the world, right? You can see you've got access to intellectual capital. It can be somebody would be after your financial fraud. It could be a state actor. It could also be a competition hiring people, so that, they could take advantage of that. Imagine if you're launching a new product in 3 weeks. It's been kept secret in the market, but suddenly somebody comes to know of it or your compete gets to know of it. It will wipe out your entire investment that you've had. What are the implications of cyber attack? A lot of people here spoke about crowd management. Now imagine you're watching a game or you're participating in a crowd event and something gets triggered by a cyber attack, right? If, for example, there's a boiler nearby and somebody sets the temperature of the boiler to 150 degrees, whereas it was set to work at 75 degrees. Imagine what is the consequences on human life, right? We've spoken about financial loss. We've spoken about brand. If you know that a brand is affected by cyber security, if a bank is affected by cyber security, would you walk into their ATM? Yes, no. Will you think twice while banking with them? Answer is yes. That's the impact it has on your brand. Physical security, it has an impact on your financial security. People familiar with these certain guidelines, it also have a legal and regulatory impact in India, saying you need to inform certain in case there is a cyber security attack within 6 hours. I thought, a lot of this conversation since morning has been one way. Let's play a game, right? Imagine all of you sitting in this room are CXOs and your ERP or your main IT application that you use in your organization has been encrypted by a hacker, right? No data is available. Everything is encrypted. Simple question, will you pay ransom, yes or no? Anybody? You'll pay ransom. Thank you. Great answer. A lot of people don't admit that they will pay ransom. Anybody else? Can we have 5, 6, 7 answers? Sorry? So, we are saying that backup has also been encrypted. That's the first line. So you'll pay? Thank you. So the answer is and somebody from this side said it depends. You'll pay. Superb. So where will you, sir, if I ask you, where will you pay from? I'm asking in Bitcoins. It's a illegal tender in India. Where will you pay from? Any CAs in this? So I am not a CA, I'm not a finance profession, but any CAs in this room? We can take that offline. So any CAs in this room? Any CFOs, finance guys? So I'm not a CA, but somebody asked me this question: how will you account for that money in your books? You can pay, right? You have various channels to pay using Bitcoin. So if I were to put down like 7-8 questions, I would go with this. Who will take control of this situation? Would you as CSOs take control? Would the CISO take control? Would the legal head take control? Who would take control of the situation in your organization? So management is a very, very big term. CTO? Chief Technology Officer. So let's do a conference of all CTOs, and I can tell you CTOs will say we will not take control. They'll say we are only responsible for data. But if you look at some of the questions, from where will you pay the ransom, which jurisdiction? In India, it is illegal. If you're a global conglomerate and you get affected, you can pay from Netherlands, you can pay from Switzerland, wherever Bitcoins are allowed, right? But if you're only headquartered in India, then how will you pay? So this CTO may or may not, depending upon the organization, depending upon who's equipped to do what, would take a decision, right? Where will you pay from? How will you account for the money? Who all will you inform? Will you inform somebody? So I just said there's a certain regulation that you need to inform them within 6 hours. But apart from that, would you inform your customers? I just heard a faint no. No. And what if this news gets leaked? So because your entire data is encrypted, right? What if one of your junior employees, I'm not talking about a senior employee, takes a photo, puts it on Insta, Twitter, LinkedIn, somewhere. And this happened with a large corporation. They were under a massive ransomware attack. They could keep it under wraps for about 4-5 days. Once the news broke out on Twitter, all hell broke loose. So back to the question, who all will you inform?
All these stakeholders possible, right from customers to investors to shareholders.
So who gave that answer? Sorry, I couldn't. Excellent answer. You should inform depending upon the situation that you're dealing with. There's a big depends here. But so what I did was I tried to write down who all would be the various stakeholders, right? It could be owners, clients, vendors. You have a duty, you have a judiciary duty towards your employees also on what do you communicate with them, right? And the faster you communicate with them, the better it would be. Who will communicate with the hacker? My most favorite question, by the way. An ethical hacker will communicate with the hacker. Part of your organization, outside your organization. You will hire somebody. Okay. Any other answers? Law enforcement agencies. Okay. Anybody else? Somebody said in-house senior guy. Yes, sir. You wanted to say something? CEO or a CTO? Yes, sir. Sir, I don't know if anybody is from legal or corporate affairs in this room, but if I ask them to go and communicate with a hacker on Tor browser, they wouldn't have the wherewithal to do that. Sorry, my personal opinion, right? You could obviously train them to do this, but probably a lot of organizations actually. How many of you have heard of cyber insurance? Organizations take cyber insurance. Communication with hacker is covered there. So you normally either get somebody on board who understands this, but the top management of the organization actually stays away with any direct communication with the hacker. It's either there are professional negotiation companies who only do this for a living. It's best that you get in touch with them and at least have a retainership agreement with them. Again, a live case. One of the organizations we know got affected. They sent an email to this professional organization who does the entire negotiation. They said, we are sold out till April end. You don't want to be in a situation where you can't wait for 1.5 months for the company to come on board, right? It's like you need the help now. So it might be good to have discussion or retainership agreement with some of these companies. So we've already done this, and I'm like 30 seconds away from the buzzer or the time getting over. These are some of the key questions that organizations would need to answer. How will the information flow within the organization? If I'm logged out of all my corporate communication, will you use WhatsApp, for example? Will you send the photo of that ransom ask on WhatsApp with your top management? How will you communicate? All of these questions are something which probably, as CSOs in your organization, you should probably be asking your CISOs, your CTOs, or your board, saying, are we ready or not? This is just a certain guidelines where I thought, I'll just put in saying all cyber incidents need to be reported on the right side, reported within 6 hours, or there is a penalty and there is a jail term for that. And they also define what kind of cyber incidents they want repeated. Pretty standard stuff. Don't download anything without checking the source. Don't click on malicious links. I don't need to preach to this audience do's and don'ts. That's it. Happy to take one or two questions. Only one question I've been told. So, if not, thank you very much. Yep. Thank you.